guys, it's Ahmer here, and today we are back with the 2025 Game Room Tour video. And boy, did so much stuff change in this game room, and I cannot believe that I made it to this point. Let's go ahead and check this out. So I decided to showcase Sonic the Hedgehog in this beautiful Sega cabinet that I scored at the Southeast Game Exchange. This right here has a variety and so many of these Sonic the Hedgehog figures, toys, just trinkets, and pinball, just so much crazy stuff in here. This is the Sega Genesis cabinet, and I am just so excited because the main reason why I had to move this is because I actually won this kiosk over here. This is the Sega Saturn kiosk, and I cannot believe that I actually won this kiosk for free. This is so insane to me. So I had to kind of put everything in this room, make a whole dedicated Sega area with my Sega Dreamcast cabinets, the banners, the standees, the store displays, this Sega Saturn kiosk, this Sonic the Hedgehog sign on top, then even that cabinet. This, by far, is probably one of my favorite areas. I just love how everything pops. Everything is just coming together, and I absolutely love this whole entire kiosk room. So finally, this guy right here, this Mario Kart, this crazy kiddie ride that they used to have back in the day, that Nintendo told them that they had to get rid of all of these. They were supposed to dispose of every single one of these kiddie rides, and I found this at the Southeast Game Exchange. I went crazy bidding on this thing a couple years back. So this is just a crazy piece of history here that I'm so thankful to add into the game room. Have it with all of my Nintendo 64 consoles. Just a complete dedication right here to my love of everything Nintendo, and especially the Nintendo 64. So this wall is by far one of my favorites in the entire game room. Not only do I have my original childhood Jungle Green Nintendo 64, this right here, I got this for Christmas one year with Donkey Kong 64, that box set with those games, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, just reliving all of those memories, and that's what really took off. That's what made me try and collect all of this stuff, especially the worldwide set of Nintendo 64 consoles, going after the entire game set. I'm like 15 or 17 games away, Japanese exclusives, for the worldwide set, and this just completely fueled it. By having the Funtastics, by having the Japanese, by having the Korean Hyundai Convoy Nintendo 64, the ANA Japanese All Nippon Airways, having the Toys R Us Gold, having the DD, the Fox Data, and just so many consoles, just completely fueling my passion for collecting, getting all of those weird variants, all of those extras, and then of course jumping into signs. These beautiful store display signs, the standees, the kiosks, and anything else related to these different systems. That is absolutely what I love, and that is what fuels my entire passion in this entire game room. So this kiosk room is by far one of my favorites, not only because I have all of these different kiosks, but literally Nintendo 64 kiosks, the Kid Space kiosks, the same company that made those for the McDonald's back in the day. Just the Nintendo DS kiosk, Xbox, even a PS3 kiosk. That is a new addition into the game room. And then all of these others, Nintendo Wii, we have the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, couple different ones, the Sega Dreamcast, and of course the list goes on. This is just jam-packed full of some of my favorite displays, some new, some old, and just a great variety to have that whole arcade style where you get to play these games. You get to kind of relive those memories of all the lights, all the sounds, and just everything crazy going on. This is one of my all-time favorites. So over here, this KB Toys Nintendo 64 cabinet that they had back in the day that I shopped at. I bought a lot of toys there, like Crash Bandicoot, so much stuff. And then they converted it to the Nintendo GameCube. So it's really cool how I have all of these standees and displays. And then the cabinet is just ever growing. I'm adding more and more of those bobbleheads, promotional items, just complete sets of video games in here. And just so much like cool knick-knacky stuff. So I really love how everything is turning out. It's really coming together, and it is really full of, you know, press kits, promotional items, and just so much cool stuff from back in the day. Even this guy right here always makes a highlight in these videos. This Mario Brothers statue. This is just so cool, and I absolutely love it. Love how I found him, love the journey, and just adding this like rare item. And then even this cool little guy, he just kind of made a little impression as well at the last game convention that I went to. This talking Mario, still in the original packaging from 1997. This guy is super cool. All of these different standees for the Nintendo GameCube, the Nintendo GameCube kiosk. Back when I found 2 of these at a dental office on Craigslist, which was super crazy, and I only needed 1 in the collection. But I just love it. And then, of course, the PlayStation 2. That sign is always a highlight. All of these games for the PS1, the PS2, the light gun games, the big box games, these collector's editions like Mortal Kombat, Resident Evil, just so many, Devil May Cry, and so many that have shaped my, years just growing up and playing like SSX Tricky, and then playing the Tony Hawk games, playing Hot Wheels, and just so many cool games, just so much fun, and one of my biggest collections because I just love finding games for it at the thrift store. And then as we kind of jump over here, we have the PlayStation 3, but of course I had to add some collector's editions, and then even some standees and big boxes, just ever growing with the PSP, and just, over here, this beautiful Wii U Kiosk that I just love it. It was definitely one of the first kiosks that I got from GameStop when they were converting over to the Nintendo Switch, and then getting the Nintendo Switch kiosk as well from GameStop. Just really cool. I feel like that tends to be something, even getting a PS4 kiosk from GameStop. But this right here has definitely changed a lot over time because I really added quite a bit of games for the Nintendo Switch. This is a console that I absolutely love playing. I love how easy it is to just pick up and play. I love how they're coming out with these retro games, these new inspired, retro, and just so much for this particular system. And now with the Switch 2, I can't wait to see what they have. But then over here, we have this Nintendo neon sign. It's double-sided, but neon on one side. This whole shrine to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Some of these NES games, Super Nintendo, N64, all of these handhelds, and then this Game Boy sign that I got on offer up back in the day for a couple $100. Just so crazy, and I love how it's a nice little welcome into this entire room over here where you saw that I have all of the kiosks, all of the store displays, and just so much more. So here is my Nintendo Entertainment System collection. This is actually in the laundry room because I ran out of space. But as you can tell, I am growing my Nintendo collection, just trying to add as many games as I possibly can. And this year has been really good as I've added quite a few, so this shelf will be filling up rather quickly. But I've scored some really fun ones like G.I. Joe, and I am so happy to play those games finally, because I had the second one, but I was waiting for the first. But I just love all of these like Nintendo oddities, these weird little Nintendo trinkets, and I just love the variety of all of this. And then of course, as we kind of shift over, you'll see a Sega cabinet, and that is a duplicate, so that's something that I have to fill. I have to get some shelves and stuff for, so that I can like better use it with some other displays and just some really cool things all kind of crammed in this room. So definitely stay tuned as I will be revamping this at some point, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So this is by far one of my favorite areas. This is crammed in the corner, but this is for all of my Super Nintendo games. So some of these big box games that I have been searching for over the years, trying to go for a full set, only needing like 140 some more or something like that, and just finding some really cool things over the past few years. But this especially is my newest edition, Sparkster. Such a fun Super Nintendo game. You know, having all of these staples in my collection like Earthbound, having some not for resale cartridges, some that have upside down labels, some that were a part of the Microprose library back when they made the game, and then even some like rare prototypes. Just some really cool things that I absolutely love, and this is probably one of my favorite areas, so I had to mention this. So this right here, I somehow added more games into my Xbox 360 set. So I know it's not alphabetized the correct way because you have like the A's and B's, and then of course it kind of goes over here. But I decided to add more of these like controller holders, these collector's edition statues, these standees, these cardboard displays, just these big box sets. And then all of these games here. I just added so many over the past year, and I had to add this with this Halo Reach store display. Just all of this kind of like coming together, showcasing the love for the Xbox 360, and just absolutely loving this. Love how everything is right next to the kiosk, so it's real easy to just pick up a game, go ahead and play it, and just really relive those moments. And this is a system that I spent so much time playing online, playing these games with my friends, and just having a great time. So this completely looks different, and I just love how it all turned out. So all of these different consoles, this is kind of dedicated to the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, just so many different Gears of War, just so many different variants here, even having a variety of Panasonic 3DOs at the bottom, and just really cool Neo Geo systems. All of these cool little console buddies, like these cable guys, I just love having all of these different ones. They've literally made so many of them, and each time I find them for a really good deal, I have to add them into the collection. And I just love all of these different box variants. This beautiful World of Nintendo fiber optic store display. This was by far a crazy find. Someone was just pretty much trashing it and cleaning out a barn. Then all of these Sega systems. We have PlayStation. This Wu-Tang controller here. This thing is just so crazy looking. It's super uncomfortable, super cheap quality. And then having this cool custom console to match. Just so many different systems of more PlayStation 3 systems. Even the Nintendo Wii, Neo Geo CD, Super Nintendo, Famicom, Super Famicom, TurboGrafx. And of course, just so many different box variants. And my love of this full library with tons of homebrews for the Vectrex. Just a beautiful console that they are still making games for, and that's what I love because it's 2025 and they're still showing that passion, that dedication, into reviving so many of these old consoles. Just all of these like amazing things. This right here, this Atari service banner, just super awesome to see with all of this Atari stuff, these different variants, these different computers. These are a lot of fun. Even down here, this Nintendo hot seat, this other Nintendo chair, just so many like weird little oddities because, you know, when you try and make a Mario cake pan over there, back in the day, those Wilton cake pans, that's just so cool. Even that Donkey Kong plush. And I just love my entire like retro corner over here. This is so beautiful. This Magnavox Odyssey sign. I absolutely love this. And I found it at a thrift store. It was like the only video game item that they had. Just these like weird little Pac-Man objects and items from Burger King. Just super cool. Just all of this stuff, like kind of just bringing this whole retro revival over in this particular area. Just so many different Atari 2600 games and television games. So many of these like weird little adult video games that a lot of people didn't really get back in the day, and now they've become quite collectible. Just so many of the full Game.com games, more Vectrex games, the complete Odyssey, that Magnavox Odyssey 2 system, all of those, just Atari Lynx, Microvision, Game.com, Telstar, and just so many others. And then over here, just that beautiful artwork, and then even this particular signage right here on this cabinet. This is a Sega new release cabinet from back in the day. Walmart, they would have had all of this stuff, and this was super cool to see. So I absolutely love this like retro corner. Even this one right here, this Blockbuster machine, just this gumball machine from back in the day. I scored this for like $50. Still have yet to fill it because it would cost thousands of dollars trying to fill it. But this is just so cool. A piece of history. Renting those movies and video games back in the day. Even having some of those rental cases. Just really cool. I absolutely love this TV here. It's a way that I get to test a lot of my, systems and different games that they come out with. And then over here, just never ending the amount of stuff. Stacking standees on here. Just kind of going through and just cycling certain ones out. The Pepsi PlayStation Kiosk. I absolutely love this wall as I'm going for the full Super Nintendo set. So this is kind of like my overflow. Then having Sega Master System, Sega Genesis games, Sega 32X. Just so many just crammed over here. And just all of these different store displays that I really wanted to like swap out. Just because there is not infinite space in this game room. So I have to kind of cycle through and just see which ones I like the best. Whether it be Tekken, whether it be Mass Effect, Rage, and I have some Hitman. I have some other ones too. So it's just really cool to kind of cycle out these cardboard displays and just try and like add more and more into this game room and just make it all work. So this one is really cool, and I feel like this is just a neat little display. So these shelves here have changed just a little bit over the years. So of course, having Nathan Drake, Uncharted, Gears of War, God of War, just the Xbox and PlayStation exclusives, having Assassin's Creed, Fallout, and just so many different collector's editions, all of these BioShock figures, but really down here with Mortal Kombat, all of that stuff has changed. They were in the toy room upstairs, but I decided to put all of that down here as I love Mortal Kombat. Then even at the bottom, those Freak Series controllers for the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. So many different handcrafted and painted, really uncomfortable, but super sought after. Then Resident Evil. I absolutely love these shelves up here with these different collector's editions. Of course, I have to find more, and these chainsaw controllers are super unique as they have like fingerprints and blood spatter on there. That is just super unique, and no two are alike. All of these Sega Saturn and Sega CD games, I kind of revamped this shelf as I showed the love for Sonic the Hedgehog in the other cabinet. But I love this this cool promotional item. All of these bendable figures here that are like these like unpainted ones that they would have used in the process of, making new ones. Just these really cool Virtua Cop, and then even this Tiger Electronics Virtua Cop game. Nights into Dreams, the big box. all of these Sega Saturn and Sega CD games. Of course, you can't go wrong with Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, and then of course Street Fighter at the bottom with some of my favorite controllers and different sets as well. Over here, all of these different Dark Souls and collector's editions for Doom. Just so many cool ones. I just love how they all turned out. Then having some Nintendo and just, little cartoony style. These GamePro magazines figures, just dropping it down to some more collector's editions. A little bit hard to see, but we have some Kingdom Hearts, and then of course Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. This right here is super cool. I absolutely love this right here. This is really unique, and I'm really excited because I got this out in Arizona at the game convention, and there's just so much with this NES Sharp TV. So I decided to make it even more convenient in the room upstairs where I do some of my modern gaming and live streaming. So I decided to put my PS5, PS4, Xbox One games kind of all jam-packed here, and I love this setup because it is super convenient. I love all of the collector's editions, just all of these big box sets, some of these posters, and just all these like little odds and ends. I feel like this is much easier, definitely comes together, and I love how it's like right outside of that room so that it's easy to go at any time. So video games aren't the only thing that I collect, and this is the perfect spot for tons of toys. Just those 80s and 90s throwbacks that I used to have back in the day. Like all of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys. Just insane that I have been able to fill up a full shelf, not just one, but two, and then carrying on to another one. Just so many cool toys out there. Just stuffed animals, plush. These, really cool Nickelodeon standees. Those like VHS tape and DVD, displays from back in the day. Then just this entire shelf full of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. But then Rugrats, such a throwback of all of these Nickelodeon, action figures, alarm clocks, phones, just the list goes on. Then SpongeBob, and then even more at the bottom there. Just so much with Pokemon, how it used to mean so much to me back in the day, collecting the cards, watching the VHS tapes, and even having this really cool Pikachu VCR with that really neat remote that they used to have that's like a plush for it. Then, of course, The Simpsons, really throwing it back here with tons of figures, these like cool banks that say Butterfinger on them, all of the Burger King toys, just so many like displays and little odds and ends. More of the Simpsons figures, just things from like Burger King. Then, of course, the mask, all of the Small Soldiers toys. Those are really cool, and I love that I kind of went a little crazy and bought tons of them all at one time from this amazing toy store where they had such crazy deals. Then even, of course, Spider-Man up there, just one of my favorite, action heroes, just super cool, this like superhero. Of course, the video games having the collector's edition statues. Then, of course, the real Ghostbusters. And then my dedication here to like Cartoon Network, where you have a lot of Scooby-Doo, but then you have Dexter, and then you have Powerpuff Girls. Just a little bit of a mix of all. I love these toys. I used to get them back in the day. And then, of course, I used to watch all of these movies, DVDs, VHS tapes, and so on. Then, of course, the Flintstones. I love that movie from back in the day. Having this kind of expand this year. Of course, Barney, and then the dinosaurs. So I felt like that was very appropriate to have. And then even, all of these really cool things for the Goosebumps. Just those amazing displays. And then, of course, even, Power Rangers. Having a whole dedicated shelf over there in the corner, but nothing but Power Rangers. Just super cool to see all of that stuff. And then, of course, you'll notice my entire computer setup that I have. And that is just jam-packed with so much. gaming consoles, kind of like the more new gen, and just streaming setup so that I can play these games on the channel. And then some Mortal Kombat Collector's Editions, some for the PS5, you know, different things for Power Rangers, Gotham, just a lot of cool stuff just up at the top there that I could change out as I collect more and more Collector's Editions, different statues, odds and ends, the banners everywhere in this room, and then even that closet with that Batman TV, the matching, you know, DVD player with both remotes, even the Hot Wheels computer that is still a work in progress, trying to get it up and running with Windows 98, just have like cool displays and such. And then even over here, this is going to be one of my like favorite areas as well. So this is going to be nothing but Batman. So I just love all of these Batman action figures. These are super cool. You know, some of these like throwback toys from back in the day. Just some really weird ones where like the arms are put on backwards. So like some sort of like factory era. And then all of this stuff, just different collector's editions for tons of Batman games. All of these GameStop statues. Just weird like, I don't know, like shampoo containers and things up there. More displays, lunch boxes. It's like the list goes on. And then all of these kind of newer action figures from when I first started the channel. I had to collect all of them, and they're just really neat to see. So this is kind of everything jam-packed in this room, and I absolutely love it. So over here, this is what I call the wall of Wii, and this has so many Nintendo Wii games. Now that I have the kiosk for it, super easy to just pick up a game, go ahead and play it. I absolutely love it for the light gun games. They're super convenient, you know, House of the Dead, Gunslingers, just so many other of these like crazy games, even like Mad World. I just love playing some of these from back in the day. It's just super easy. I'm still finding games at the thrift store, and I'm still adding, but I had to change up some of this whole display. So, you know, I just love that Nintendo DS Lite. I love this PS4 kiosk that I put a PS2 in to play. And then I have all of these like store display standees from McDonald's and everything else. Some of these like cool little figures and different things of Sonic the Hedgehog, Amiibo, and then over here just more games for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, and just more handheld systems. Just really an awesome thing over here with all of these different Amiibo as they line the entire game room all around the different lights. I have pretty much all of them minus a few newer sets, and just having these weird like oddities as well, like this Tiger Electronics Street Fighter 2 game in the box. This is definitely a cool one, and I just love how everything is coming together. And it's ever changing, and I'm just finding so much cool stuff. So I want to know what you guys found interesting in my game room, as I've changed up so much this past year, and it's really ever changing. Just more and more stuff that I find. But if there's anything that you particularly like or you want to see close up, let me know in the comments down below, because I'd love to, you know, get some other collection videos together. Just kind of get like a good look at everything, because there's just so much to see, and it really does change up so often that it's hard to, you know, really show the dedication of everything in this room. So of course, let me know what you guys think. What are your favorites? And make sure you guys follow along, because I have tons of updates throughout the year. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos, and stay tuned for more.